Another one added to our lineup, that's the Audi RS3 and Audi TTRS Turbo blanket, hitting shelves soon. This is both for the manifold and the turbine housing for ultimate heat protection. Super easy to fit, let's see how it's done. Okay, let's see what's in the packet. First up, most importantly, you've got your turbo manifold blanket. This one here is in titanium, but you may have chosen carbon fibre. These both perform exactly the same, it's just personal preference of what one you chose. Also, you've got your product guide. Recommend reading this one cover to cover. There's a few tips in there and some do's and don'ts, as well as your safety springs. These here will secure the blanket in place. There's only 3 on this complex blanket, but you'll see how that works shortly. Some people do use lock wire. They prefer the fit and it's a little bit tighter, but it's entirely up to you. This isn't provided, but you can get this in many hardware stores. Okay, as you can see, this turbo is made up of both the manifold and the turbine housing all in one. They're not separate. So we've created a blanket that does exactly that as well. You can see there, you've got the manifold portion and then this really long, strange towel section there, which is actually going to help wrap around the turbo. Okay, we always recommend trying to fit the hardest to reach springs first, but I'll show you how it works on the table. I know it'll be a little bit more tricky in your engine bay, but this would give you a good understanding of what direction things go in and where to route things. So first up, nice and easy, you take the blanket and you just slot it right over the manifold itself. Make sure the turbo is nice and cool. Don't really want you fitting this when the turbo is hot. You will be burning yourself because it's quite tricky and quite tight in there, but I think that goes without saying. Okay, so sit that over the manifold portion and wrap that around the back. As I mentioned before, you do want to fit the hardest to reach springs first. Okay, so on this section here, you want to fit one on just there, and then a second one on there as well. That will become clear as to why that's the case later. Feed that right underneath the turbo there. And again, in your engine bay, you're not going to be fighting with the table, so you will be able to slide that under a little bit easier. You're going to lift the turbo there. And that should sit something like that. So one of the hardest to reach anchor points, as I mentioned earlier, is just here. I'd recommend probably fitting that before it gets into position, just because it will be a little bit fiddly. We fit that there, and then it will go through the cutting point, cut out just here, which then will go through the runner. And then it will pop out the other side. Maybe a little bit tricky, so some people do prefer to stick a cable tie on the end of that for easy access. Goes through a little bit like this. So around here, to complete the manifold portion, you've got one anchor point serving 2 different springs there, okay? So the first one is gonna go to this anchor point here, and the second one is gonna go again in the same motion through the runners out to the other side, okay? So I'm just gonna show you that here, and then the manifold portion should be nice and secure. So first one, nice and easy to reach, just onto the top there. Okay, and then the second one, a little bit more fiddly, through the cutout under the bottom. Okay, so once you've completed that, you should be in this position here. Just manipulate that round just to make sure that it's sitting nicely on the joins, and you should be good to go. That should be held quite snugly on there and shouldn't move too much, just a little bit like you see. So finally, we've got the towel that will head round here. Okay, this might look a little bit different on yours because this is a development piece. We are looking to add a little bit more material on the final sections just here. You can either use a spring from there to here, or you can use some lock wire. Entirely up to you. I'm going to be using lock wire today. So there we have it, another turbo blanket in the lineup. That's for the Audi RS3 or the Audi TTRS. If we don't have your favourite car, drop us a message and we'll be happy to add it to the list. There's plenty in the pipeline. Drop us a message if you need any more help.